Switching gears to our Motoring Friday feature, the Automotive Industry Transformation Fund is a vehicle geared towards increasing the participation of women and people of color across the sector's value chain. Since its founding in 2020, the fund has invested 596 million rand in various companies to reach this goal, but transformation is still happening at a very slow pace. David Furlonger, editor-at-large for the Financial Mail, joins us with more detail. Thank you so much for your time, David. Now, when we talk about black participation, I guess participation, of course, broadened to women and people of color. Just paint a picture of that. Is that just focusing on the supplies, or is it in every area of the value chain?
The one area where it is not is in vehicle manufacture. If you look at the vehicle manufacturers who came in, the Toyotas, the VWs, their parent companies made it very clear that they would not cede any shareholding in their South African subsidiaries. And many of the multinational components companies have said the same, and some of the truck companies which have subsidiaries here also have said the same. So the deal is that instead of ceding shares, you will give money to the AITF, the fund to which you referred, but also create the opportunities for black suppliers and other forms of black business to operate in what used to be and still is pretty much a lily-white industry.
Yes. All right. You talk about these manufacturers putting in money into this Automotive Industry Transformation Fund. How stringent are the rules there for them to fulfill those obligations?
They have no choice in the matter. I mean, the initial amount was 6 billion rand. Yes. Over 10 years.
That was supposed to be collected.
Yes, but it's collected over 10 years. Yes, so from 2020 to 2029. 2.25 billion of that is ceded to the fund, to the AITF, for it to create companies which can work with those motor companies. The other 3.75 billion is supplied by those 7 manufacturers to create the opportunities for those companies to be suppliers to them. So, for example, we've got companies which transport vehicles around the country, we've got components manufacturers, we've got wheel manufacturers, and we're going to have some electric vehicle suppliers, or not suppliers, but suppliers of services. So that 3.75 billion will come from those 7 vehicle manufacturers to make the market accessible.
Well, I mean, there are other companies coming into the fore in the automotive industry. You talk about these 7 manufacturers that are contributing to the AITF. Is there space, is there a requirement for more of these companies that are coming into the country to actually be involved there?
Okay, well, if we look at, for example, BAIC, the Chinese company, and Stellantis, the France-based company, they have already had discussions with the AITF and with the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, and they have agreed that they will come into the fund, that they will also contribute. But remember, they only start manufacturing in 2026. Well, they both say they will start manufacturing, so they will come in. Some of the multinational components companies have already started. The truck companies are talking. So this is a fund that's going to get bigger and bigger. The only discussion at the moment is how it will grow and where all the extra money will go.
Well, actually, let's talk about that growth, because is it a case of there isn't enough money that has gone into this fund, or maybe just the implications of that have not moved as fast as they should?
It's quite difficult. I mean, you could just throw money at it and impress everybody. But if we look at I think it's 67 companies have been established so far. Now, when we talk established, I mean properly established. They are up and running. They've got, I think it's 15 billion rand of contracts from those 7 vehicle manufacturers. There's another 20 odd which are underway. They hope to have 90 by the end of that 10-year period. But there's no point putting money into companies if they're not going to work. So this is all about creating feasible, sustainable, long-term companies. So yeah, it would be lovely to say we're going to have 200 or 300, but the size of the industry at the moment does not allow that. It's got to be slow and steady and sustainable.
Yeah. David, you talk about companies that have been created, that are being created from the AITF, and is it just limited to those companies, or can already existing companies, that do fall under the transformative agenda, actually kind of tap into this fund?
In principle, they can, and some have tried.
Yes.
But it comes down also to what those vehicle manufacturers need.
Okay.
There's no point coming in and saying, we do this, if the industry doesn't need it. This is all part of the Automotive Production and Development Programme and the broader South African Automotive Master Plan, which runs to 2035. So it's all part of an overall growth of the industry, which is where one of the hiccups comes in. Because this 6 billion rand in total is part of that APDP and Automotive Master Plan, but it's also based upon the projections. And it's already become clear that the initial projections, which were made about 7-8 years ago, are not being met at the moment. So those industry policies are going to come under review next year, and possibly some of those targets in terms of the AITF might be reconsidered as well. That doesn't mean it's going to slow down. It just means that there will have to be a realistic reassessment of where it's going.
All right. Very, very interesting topic here, David. We will be looking out for those timelines and also maybe some policy changes or tweaks there. Thank you so much for your time. That was David Furlonger, Editor-at-Large for the Financial Mail.